Everyone, it's so good to be here. I'm honoured and really excited to share my knowledge with you today. I'll just firstly explain a bit about who I am and why I'm in front of you giving you this lesson today. So I'm the managing director of a local Darwin business called Misfit Digital. We are based in Bastings Street in Northcote, and I actually live on High Street. So I'm pretty much, my whole time is spent walking up and down High Street and going into many shops and probably spending too much money when I could. But apart from that, look, I guess what we are as an agency, we specialise in e-commerce. So we work with businesses in Australia, New Zealand and the US primarily. And work with e-commerce stores from startups right through to businesses turning over, anywhere from $20 to $50 million sometimes. So we've got a bit of experience in this space, and I'm really, really excited to be able to share my knowledge with you. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this call, how we'll structure this, I'm going to go through a pretty top line introduction to Shopify and just some of the things you need to be wary of when you're setting one up. But I will at the end have a bit of time for quick Q&A. So if there are any specific questions you have around Shopify itself, I'll do my very best to answer them. Some Shopify stores, if you've changed them around, can be different, so we'll do our best. But also as well, I'm going to follow up with some additional material because you're not going to learn everything in this session. And there's a lot of really great resources out there that are free that can help you get to where you need to be in your business. So without further ado, I'll kick off into our session. Stephanie, maybe just confirm that you can all see the. I'm hoping everyone can see that. Yep, fantastic. Okay, brilliant. So as I mentioned, this is how to set up a Shopify store. And as I mentioned, it's part of the Darwin Business Webinar series, and we're really excited to be part of this. And we'll kick into it. So what we're going to go over today are four main elements. I've also added a little bonus but we'll get to that in a second. Basically, it's how to firstly set up an account and what you need to make sure you do in order to set it up correctly. Then how to add products to your store. Obviously, this is a really, really fundamental element of having an e-commerce business, but there are some little things that you need to know on Shopify and how you structure it that are going to make your life a lot easier when you're trying to organize your storefront. And I'll show you that shortly. How to set up your business information as well. So these are some of the fundamental things that you need to make sure are in the background, because when there's a lot of things that are set up in the kind of back end that aren't necessarily visible on the website that will be representative of your business. So we'll go through that. And also how to connect to your social media channels. Now, this is a little different from your typical adding your Facebook page and things like that. This is more centered around making sure down the track you can add a thing called tracking, which effectively is a little bit of code that sits on your site that allows you down the track to track the behavior of your potential customers and customers coming on site. And this is really powerful because it allows you to collect the data from what they do when they go on site, what products they look at, if people are dropping off on your site and not buying. If you have this data, it means you can make really informed business decisions and optimization decisions as well, which means that you can improve the return on your store, which is a very good place to be. Basically, look, I just want to give a quick little overview of Shopify. Shopify by far is the fastest growing do-it-yourself e-commerce platform on the marketplace at the moment. Now, the benefit with Shopify is that it is specifically designed for e-commerce. So if you are looking to sell a product online, this is by far the easiest, the best, and the most relevant tool that you can get right now. The other thing it does, excuse me, the other thing it does is that it also is basically, it does everything. So a lot of websites, you just create the actual site, the look and feel, the navigation, everything you see when you go to a website. But what Shopify does differently to a lot of other website providers, it actually does the hosting as well, meaning that it can go live straight away and you can either go live with a Shopify link or with your own unique URL. So for example, our unique URL for Misfit Digital is http://misfit.digital, for example. So it's basically what I'm trying to say, it is a full platform. It also is really effective if you are looking to connect your storefront to a delivery partner. So it integrates really seamlessly with Australia Post and a few other couriers as well. So that's kind of like the next advancement of it. But when you're looking for a platform, you want to make sure it can do the entire supply chain and the entire fulfillment and make life easier for you. Otherwise, you end up having to get someone to do a lot of admin, which obviously as business owners, takes time and potentially money to get someone to take on that role. So the beauty of a tool like Shopify is that it automates a lot of this for you. And it's fairly easy to use. You don't need to be spending thousands and thousands and thousands on getting a developer like you used to do. This now makes life very, very simple. And we're going to go through some fundamentals today. As I mentioned, I will send some backup information for you, and that will obviously give you a lot more material to read and watch videos as well to bring your business to life online. So the first thing is making sure that you actually set up a proper account. So this may be pretty straightforward for some people, but I just wanted to go through the basics right through. So you need to head to shopify.com.au and then there'll be a button on the top right. I took the screenshot today, so this is the latest one on the 5th of August. And you want to be able to create a free trial. Now, at the moment, Shopify is offering a 14-day free trial. The beauty of that means that you don't have to pay anything for 14 days, but you can actually have a decent play around within the system without getting locked in. And I always think that's a really great offer. And I think it's testament to how much they believe in the product as well, that once people are on it, they tend to stay. So once you start your free trial, it'll pop up this. So once you click that button, it'll pop up this pop-up. You want to put your email address. Now, make sure this is one that you will receive, not just a general business one at this stage, because there will be a verification process. Pop in a password, and then you want to put your store name. Now, this is really important. This is the main login name you're going to have for Shopify moving forward. Now, if you're going to use Shopify's hosting, which would be your store name.myshopify.com.au or .com dependent, it's going to use this name. So I've, for the sake of this webinar, have created a fake store called Pink Bottle Test. If I was Misfit Digital creating one, I would try and do Misfit Digital. Obviously, a lot of names will probably be taken at this stage. So I may do Misfit Digital AU or Misfit Digital Agency or something along those lines, but something easy to remember for customers as well. So just click on Create Your Store, and then it's going to ask a few questions. Now, these are mainly for Shopify to get some data on who's coming onto the platform. So don't think too much about this, but when you do answer correctly, it will start to give you instructions when you get into Shopify that are relevant to your business level. So if you're just playing around and you're just getting started, the information and the prompts that Shopify give you, which is amazing, so actually give you training on the platform to improve where you're at, will be more relevant to where your business is. So a business that's just starting out compared to a business turning over $1 million a year is very, very different in some of the setup and the product variations, etc. So sure you answered these. And then as it says up there, this is a very important part. It's going to ask for your address. Now, ideally you want to put in your default business address, so what your ABN is registered to. The reason being is that obviously they do a bit of a verification process as well for fraud purposes to make sure that this matches up to whatever's on your ABN or ACN. You will down the track when you put in your financial information to be paid, you put in your bank account, business bank account, it will ask for that information too. So it just makes it a bit easier down the track. So as you can see here, I've put in our business address, and then I've put in a contact phone number too, and then obviously a website. Now that's optional if you don't have one yet. Some people obviously probably don't, and it's completely fine. It's optional, but if you do have one already, pop that in there as well. And then if it is a registered business, then make sure you do click it. You can set one up without it, but obviously from a payment perspective, it's very hard to prove that you actually are a legit organisation without having an ACN or ABN. Okay, so once you've come into the platform, this is what will open up. So you'll get, this is the homepage. So I'll just kind of run you through what the kind of, I guess, taskbar over here means. So if you ever get lost on Shopify, always click that green shopping bag with the S on it up there, it will take you back to this page. So that's a really good thing to know, a little hack, because sometimes people lock themselves out or they go to somewhere they're not too sure. So that will always bring you back. Now, as you can see here, it's got my Shopify name. So the login name will be the one you've put there, .myshopify.com. So that's always going to be your store ID. So if you ever see that, that's what it is. And then down here, this is pretty self-explanatory, but I'll go through it. Homepage is obviously will be your main dashboard once you go live. Currently, it's just got the recommendations we need to do to get to that next level. Secondly is your orders. Now, orders is where obviously people have made a purchase, and this is where you can start to see exactly how where your fulfillment is. You can engage with people based on there and see what they've bought. It's basically the list of your confirmed sales. Product is, as it says, your product. So we'll go through this a bit today, how to set up a product properly so that it actually makes life a lot easier for you when you're going into playing around with the actual site layout. Customers, again, it is your customer base. So this is what will be your customer database. So within there, it'll record everyone based, the main ID being the email address. So if I come in and use my Cartier@misfit.digital email and buy from you 2 or 3 times, it will start to record all of the products I've purchased over my purchases and the corresponding purchases under my email and my name. So this is where it's really important because down the track, you can start to do some email marketing, or you can start to identify who your top customers are. You might give them an exclusive release or a deal on a product. So I'm all about today making sure you set up the system to collect the right data. And then from there, when you've got the data and it's correctly put into your store, it allows for you to make strategic business decisions down the track. And with e-commerce, it is so important that you have your tracking set up correctly. Everything is online here. So what we can do is we can connect your website to Facebook, to Instagram, sites like that, and actually start to, re-engage previous customers through advertising that have been on your store, or retarget, which is when someone's gone to your business site and has gone to maybe look at 2 product pages and then leaves. We can, down the track, create ads on Facebook or Instagram that will actually show up those 2 products to that person and encourage them to buy again. So it's very, very powerful stuff. And when it's used correctly and strategically, these tools can really start to drive a lot of success for online stores. But again, that's down the track, but you need to set up the fundamentals first in order to be able to do that. And then the one under that, analytics. So this is basically where you can start to see that data in action. So it will allow you to see your average order value, so how much people on average are buying from your store. It will allow you to understand the top marketing channels, so where people are coming from. Are they more likely to come from Facebook or from organic search on Google? It will give you that information. It also goes through your top products, what's selling. So again, it's a top line business dashboard to be able to see how things are progressing over a 7-day period, and then you can change the times depending on what framework you want to look at. You can look at 3 months on 3 months, exactly, and it will do the comparative period as well to what you put in. And then marketing, the same thing. You can use this the Shopify tool to actually send out email reminders if someone has added a product to their cart and hasn't completed the purchase. There's a lot you can do there. Discounts is pretty much what it says. So if you wanted to give a 10% discount to customers, you can go there and add it, and it's very, very easy to add a little coupon code, or you can automatically apply it depending on which one you choose. And then the good thing about Shopify, where I think businesses are realizing the benefit of using a platform like this, the app section is an incredible library of different tools that you can add on to your main store. Now, traditionally, you'd have to get a developer or a development team to have to come in and create something bespoke for your website, which can cost a lot of money. And there are probably developers who are going to be angry at me for giving you a secret here. But the good thing about apps is that there's off-the-shelf tools that you can clip into your website and basically can do things very, very quickly. So an example could be you may have, for an example we did with a client recently, they have a restaurant, but they can only do pick-up orders now based off the situation currently. So we found an app in there that was able to plug into once they made a purchase, so the customer can choose the time and the date that they wanted to pick up their order. So again, so much customization, and that's why this is a very top-line overview. But obviously, if there are any questions of what you wanted to do, we can look at ways to be more bespoke for your business. And then the online store down here, this is how you actually sell. So the online store is the shop front, and I'll show you an example of that soon. But also under there is where we're going to set up some of that tracking to make sure that we are getting all the information possible from our customers or potential customers. Now, the first thing you want to do once we get to this homepage, as I've highlighted down there in red, you want to verify the email. So without verifying the email, it's just not going to basically register this as a legit account. So please do that. And then once you've done that, it'll click onto here, you send a verification email, and this is what the email looks like. So be mindful, this email will only be valid for 24 hours. So once you've gone in, and it will go to your email that you put in initially, just confirm the email, and that's basically the main one. You may come to this page here, and it will basically direct you back to your store. So your store is your the website you're working on. The other two are for other things in Shopify you don't need to worry about at this stage. So once we get to, this is the home page again. Now you're going to see the three main elements there: add product, customize theme, and add domain. Now, the first thing we're going to do here is adding a product to the store. Now, the wonderful thing about Shopify is that you can customize it as much as you want for what you put into products. And I highly recommend as well that you also set this up correctly, because there's some things that can make life a lot easier if you're down the track, as I mentioned. So also up on the left-hand side there and on the toolbar, you can see products as the third one there. You can click on that too, and that will also allow you to get to adding products. But when you're just starting out, this is a really good, it basically is a prompt for you to remind you what you need to do in order to get your store to the next level to go live. Now, I had done this little video. We'll see what the quality is like. Okay, so this is where it comes to. And basically you have the title, and this is where you're going to put the title of your product. So for this example, I'm going to use a pink glitter drink bottle. And so you put the title of what your product is there. So that's kind of like the main one. And then you can add your description. So I've basically, if you have another website already and you're transferring things across, you could just go there, copy it, and bring it in. If you've got a lot of products, there is also a way you can do this through Excel import, and I will share that information with you. It's just quite advanced, but there is ways you can do that. Then you want to go down and you want to add a photograph. Make sure it's very clear, like you've seen there, and professional. It will help significantly. With your pricing, you can see there's the price and then the compare at price. So the compare at price will be the recommended retail price, and then the price will be, if you've got a discount, what the discounted price is. And then you can also put your cost per item in too. So it actually starts to calculate your margin and your profit too, which is fantastic for reporting purchases. It automatically will default to charge on this product, which is obviously mandatory within the Australian market. And then with inventory, it's got the ability to maintain stock keeping units. So if you have stock SKUs that you use within your business, this is great. Obviously, really important when, I'm just going to pause that there, but really important when you are looking at maybe a bigger range. So making sure you add that in is really, really important. The other element too is wanting to track quantity. So say you might have 50 units and you want to make sure that it doesn't sell when you've run out of those units. So really important for businesses that maybe are transitioning from having a bricks and mortar or traditional retail shop and only have limited numbers of product. Make sure you put the right number of product there too. And if you are still selling in in another avenue, it might be that you're selling through email or through over the phone. Make sure that this is updated on the product thing as well, so you don't oversell. And then the other thing too, if you are a business though that actually has runs of products, so you know you're going to get this product in again, you may want to choose continue selling when out of stock. So that means that if it's out of stock, it will say it it will automatically update saying this product is out of stock, but it will allow the user to still purchase it. So, and you may add something, the new range is coming in on the first week of September or something like that, and will be shipped. So there's different ways you can run it. Now, the other thing you'll be able to do here is that you can actually say it's a physical product, meaning that it's something, so my pink bottle here, and then you can put in the weight as well. Now, this is really important if you have a integration with a shipping provider. Reason being, they may say, okay, if a product's 1 kilo, it would automatically update the shipping costs as well. Now, making sure here you pop in if it's an Australian product, it's really important too. Look, if you are doing international, if your products are based internationally and you're bringing them in, but let's say your shop's here, but your products are based in China or America or something like that, it does get a little more complicated. But if you are using if you're a business that has your product, Australian-based products, you're selling obviously to an Australian market, you're not going to have to worry about the custom stuff. But if there are other elements, that's a whole nother conversation, and obviously happy to help if you need to go through that. The other thing with a product is the ability to do variants. Now, this is fantastic. Say, for example, it's the same pink glitter bottle, but we've got 2 different sizes, for example. So as you can see here, it's got size, color, material, style, title. So you can actually add in different variants. So I've popped in here a 500 ml and a 1,000 ml variant, and then you can add the different pricing as well. So I'm just showing you here some of the other options. So there might be different colors, for example. And if you ever need to get rid of it, just click remove, and then it gives you the different variants. So for 500 ml, we might have 50 units, and this one, it's 1,000 right now. Sorry, it's 0 right now. But also I'm changing the price to reflect what the 1,000 ml one would be. So again, it's just making life easier for you. And then down the bottom as well, you can see there, it just showed you the element of the SEO bit. So down the bottom, it will pull in the information here so that when your product is indexed in Google, it will pull up the right information. So you can click and edit that if you like to. Now over here on the right-hand side, this is where it's important to kind of know a few tricks within Shopify. So you've got, currently the product availability is on the online store. You can also look at integrating things down the track, such as Facebook shopping, if you want, where people can actually buy on the platform. You can also, and same with Instagram as well. We actually need to have products and things up. And so that's kind of like a 2.0, more of a marketing Shopify integration, I guess, or application. And then there's obviously, if you do have a business that has a point of sale element, obviously I understand right now for a lot of businesses that isn't going to be relevant. But for example, if you have a cafe and you want people to be able to order coffee online, but then also people may come to the window and do a contactless purchase potentially, hypothetically as well. But if you wanted to have a point of sale option, you can actually have the same store for point of sale and for online. So that's something to consider. So if you're wondering, oh goodness, how am I going to make it work when I've got my even my wholesale, maybe you've got a wholesale provider, wholesalers that you sell to exactly, all of that can actually sit into one Shopify store, which helps you with inventory management, marketing, all of those things. But that's what I mean. Having a platform that does one thing without having to duplicate admin is really, really powerful. Again, can send some supporting documentation, or happy for anyone to reach out and I can give you some advice on that too. Again, it is kind of that next level up, but really important to know that this is a future-proof platform that can actually support your business growth and not just something that you're adding on as another tool to kind of fill a void at this current time. So if I just click back into this, now we've got here organization. So that's just showing the online store there, and you can choose whatever's available at the time. Now, the organization is how products are organized within your website. So you really want to make sure here that you choose a product type that is relevant. Now, if you, for example, are a fashion store and you resell other brands, the vendor thing might be a bit of more of a relevant thing for you. And what that means then basically, sorry, I'm just popping in to just jumped ahead there. What that means is that you can actually have products such as it's got Nike there in as example, that are by other brands too. So we'll start to categorize by brand. So another thing that is really, really helpful. And then you can see down here collections. Basically collections, and I'll click into this. Collections is how Shopify categorizes your products. So you actually need to create a collection first before a product can be added. So that's why I've gone here. So on the toolbar, you click on products, go down to collections, and then at the moment, it's just got homepage. So, you know, when you go to a website and it has the menu bar at the top and it will have home, let's say it's a homeware store, it might have kitchenware, it might have bathroom, it might have Manchester, etc. So they would all be classified as collections. So it's that first level menu down. And then what you can do, you can add your specific products to collections. So this helps when you are trying to organize your page. Shopify themes are very much automatic, but you have to set up your products and your collections properly in order to make that work. So with the collection, you literally just come to this page, you click on create collection, and it will give you a page like this. So what we want to do is we want to have a collection. As I said, that was either categories of different, like for homeware, that made sense. Maybe you are a fitness store. So you might be a bit more like, what are your active favorites, or what are your walking favorites, or things like that, and have different collections based off activities. You can categorize it however you want, as long as it makes sense to the customer. That's the main thing we want to do here. So what we're doing here is we are creating a collection with the title Active Favorites, and then you put a little description what it is, because this will actually turn up when they click on the menu and go, I want to go to Active Favorites, then it will have a little bit of text saying our active favorite items for keeping active. So just gives a bit of a description around what the collection is about. You don't have to do that, but I find it helps just give a bit more clarity to the person visiting the site. Rule of ecom, you can make it as simple as possible, and always make sure that I couldn't stress this enough. If you already have a database or an audience that you've engaged, ask as many questions as you can. So what we always do for our clients when we take them on and we're creating a new website or we are doing a marketing campaign, we will always start with market research. And the people who you want to get the information from that are the easiest to are your existing customers. So what I mean by that is send out a survey monkey or a questionnaire to ask, what are your favorite products that you love in our store? How do you see our store? What are the key things that you love about our brand? What you'll get back from there is a few things. You'll first and foremost will find out the products they like, which obviously, if you see a trend there that there's more people liking pink water bottles rather than blue or green, you're going to want to make sure that you've stocked more than them, because it's going to give you a pretty good indication that that's a favorite. Now, again, take this, if you've only got a small database and you only get a sample back of 5 people, take that with a grain of salt. You want to make sure you get about 20 to 30 survey results back to see any kind of trend. Now, the other thing as well will allow you to be able to get the kind of language they use when describing your products. It's really important, because we may, as business owners or e-commerce retailers as well, may perceive a product. So, we might see the pink water bottle as that, but someone might see it as a pink thermos, for example. So you need to be very clear of the language and how people describe things, because what people buy are things that they relate to more so. So make it life easier for yourself. Take note of the language. The other thing too is, make sure that you can ask them too is, what would you love to see from our product range? Poll your audience before you go out and create a whole new range or a new product. Get the insight from them. It will make life a lot easier for you. And then this could all be applied to when you set up your store as well. Make sure you're using the right language. If there's any kind of, they might say that, this is a fitness store, but we love the fact that it's always really great for people who are for runners, for example. So you might want to do a running collection. So really, really important to get that insight. And then so back to here. So there's two different ways with this collection when you're setting it up. Now, the collection type, it means that you can either add products manually to this, or you can set up a rule so that when you add a new product, it automatically adds to this collection. So I would recommend setting up your collections first. The reason being is that in the products, I'll show you in a minute, you can add a tag down on the right-hand side. And then when you add that tag, so for example, here, I've gone product tag is equal to active equipment. It will automatically add any product that I tag with or active equipment into this collection. So you can see how that's saving you a lot of time and a lot of effort as well. You can always go and add a product to a collection at any time manually, and you can remove one too. So if you make a mistake, don't feel that you're stuck with it. Everything in Shopify can be changed quite easily. So again, why I really love this platform, and fantastic for people looking to get online sooner than later as well. Now, the other thing too, you can have a collection image as well. So if it is for runners, obviously you probably want to have an image that represents what is going to be in the collection. So it could be a photo of someone running. It could be a photo of your range laid out quite nicely. Now, what I would recommend too is if you have them, try and use professional photos where possible. What I mean by professional photo is not necessarily, you don't have to have it in a studio, but just make sure it's very high resolution, the lighting's well, all that kind of stuff, because you want to be looking as professional and slick as possible. And at this time, I know for some people it may be difficult to get those out there. What you may also have the opportunity as well, dependent on your business, that you may have had other people create photographs on their own social media channels, things like that. Now, you can use them as long as they look decent and are of high quality, but please make sure that you always, always, always reach out to the photographer who's taken that and get permission. It's a bit of a grey area, especially if something's posted on social, but just for best practice and protecting your business, always ask it. And that's the thing for social media too. Always make sure you do reach out if you're repurposing anyone else's content, and give them credit too where possible. So that's really the collection. Now, before we get into this, I just want to jump out of this. And I'm going to give you a little real version here so you can see the store in situ. Now, this is the homepage I've mentioned before. Now, what I was showing you before, from a products perspective, you click on here on products. And as you can see, it's got all products there. It has the option for your inventory, transfers, collections, and gift cards. Now, as you can see, this is bringing up the product that I bought before. So this is actually what it will look like once you've gone through that process. So let's just click on this and say I wanted to add this to the active favorites collection that I've created before. I literally click on the product and I just go down, and this is what I'm talking about here is the tags. So, sorry, active equipment was the one I set up before. Now, when you create it to a tag there, and the collection has, as I mentioned before, has a rule saying that any product that has got a tag with active equipment, it will go into that collection. Now, I've added a couple of other tags here because, for example, I might think, I might create a women's accessories collection down the track. I'm not ready yet, but it's a really good way to add those tags now. You can have a tag and it doesn't do anything. It just can be there as a way to categorize. And then also thought maybe pink might be a thing. So we might do, a collection around people who love pink or blue. So if that's your favorite color, you can find products that match you. So this is where you start to think outside the box. And again, it could be, I could put those tags in there because someone has come, or people have come back from our survey, our questionnaire, saying, look, I really want to know what are the best running accessories for women. Or look, we just love pink, like give us a whole lot of pink products. So there's a whole lot of things that you can take and apply here as long as you understand the kind of categories you need. And one other thing I have to remind you now, if you make a change here, so say we put in tags, let's just say water bottles. Now you can write that in and just go add. And so that's how you, even if it's a new one. Now, if it's a previous one, you can see there it will have it, some of the frequently used ones, but you can actually type it in and it will come up. Now, once I've done that, please, please, please make sure you click save. If you don't do that, you'll lose all your hard work. So I'm going to click save now, and then it will go back to the product page there. Now, what you can do here as well is at the top, you can duplicate. So say you've got a few products that are really similar, but you just need to change out the color. So maybe it's a green glitter bottle or blue. Instead of going through and creating this all again, you can actually duplicate it. And it's really simple. You just click on that, and maybe we just swap it down. It's a blue glitter bottle. And then you can choose what you want to copy over. So if say you know that you've got 50 of each of those, you can also copy of inventory quantities. If the SKUs are pretty similar, you can do that. Images as well. Obviously, this will be a different image because it's going to be a blue one. You can duplicate that over. And then you want to with availability, if you go hide on all channels and apps, it won't add it to the online store. So I will show you what that means, but if you click this one here, it will make it available on the same stores. So actually will add it to the products in a live environment. Now, why you would do it from a hide perspective is if you were creating a new product and it's not approved yet, you don't want to put it live onto something without maybe getting approval, or maybe you're waiting on compliance for selling a food product or something like that. You can still set it up without putting it into the catalog, and that's what that does. So we just click duplicate. Excellent. Now you can see over here how it's available on 0 out of 0 channels and apps. Now we can change that. Always keep an eye. If you can't find something turning up, check it out here, because what's happened here, it's not obviously as part of the online store. Now that I've clicked that and I've gone done, that will now be part of the catalog. So that means now it will be, when we set the site live, it will be available to be searched and found online on the website. So the other thing too is, make sure you click save. I did that then, and just click save. It will prompt you as well, which is great. But yeah, I've made that mistake a couple of times. Inventory obviously is what it is. You can import through a spreadsheet your inventory as well. But here it's where if you need to go and quickly update how many quantities are available of something, you can go in here and it gives you all of your products very, very easily listed. So a really quick way of managing that. You can search products as well. It's really, really simple, this tool, and very user-friendly. Now, one of the other things I wanted to show you today is the analytics dashboard. Now, obviously, this is a site that hasn't gone live yet, but this just gives you a bit of an overview as to the analytics you can get. So you will be able to get the total sales, and this is obviously today. You can change this to whatever you want, really. So let's just say the last 7 days, but it's got a whole massive selection there. Fantastic if you need to report on performance, etc. I'll just keep it as today for now as an example, but really, and this is when you are getting in e-com, I'm actually doing a workshop as part of this series next week to help people understand how to read the data in a lot of these e-commerce stores, because it's very hard sometimes if you've never worked with e-commerce, or you have a team that maybe needs to improve the optimization on the performance on the store. All this data here is going to be able to give you some insight as to how you can improve your business. So that's a session I recommend you popping into next week. But just for now, as you can see, it's going to tell you how many sales you've made, how many people actually come to your store, your returning customer rate, so what the loyalty is like. So basically, if it says that there's 20% returning customer rate, that means 20% of people who have purchased before have come back to buy again. Your conversion rate. So your conversion rate basically is how many people have been to the site versus how many have purchased, so your percentage of that. Average order value, so that's how much people are spending on average when they come to your store. Your total orders, that's how many people have purchased. And then there's all this other information. So where they're coming from, it breaks it down by state as well. So it could be you've got more people in Melbourne than you do Sydney, for example. Obviously, where people are coming from traffic. So traffic is people coming to your website. So it might say Google or Facebook, for example. And then obviously through social, and that's where people have come from. And then that's also the sales by those channels. So you can actually see which ones are driving the most sales. And then look, there's a considerable amount of data here, which is fantastic. Really, really insightful to make sure that you're making informed decisions. And so that's why I love Shopify. It does all the data, the graphs for you. Really, really easy to be able to pull a report and make sure that you can give it to your internal team, etc. Now, I'm just conscious of time, so I just want to kind of go through something else that's really important here. Now, with your sales channel, there's the online store. Now, this is where the look and feel of your site is done. So that's the front. All the stuff here we're doing up here is stuff that your customers don't even see until you need to set it up properly. And then the theme is the let's say the makeup of the site. So the look and feel, all that fun stuff. Now, the beauty of Shopify, it does have a lot of pre-designed themes that you can work with, which I think is fantastic. So traditionally, you'd have to get a developer, a front-end, a graphic designer to do all this for you, but now it's all here, and you just need to change out colors, etc. Again, I will definitely send across something around how to do this. It's quite it's not difficult. It's just an involved process and can take a good, few hours to actually apply a lot of this stuff. But it's still a lot easier and more effective than going out and paying a team if you don't have the resource to do that at this stage. But down here, you can look at, basically previewing, publishing things. There's also free themes as well. You can check out free themes that you might want to change the look and feel. And there's also a whole lot of ones that you can purchase as well. So the good thing to get there, it's pre-done for you. You just need to apply different looks and feels. Now, the other thing I really want to make sure everyone is across is down at preferences. Now, this is where I really want people to make sure they understand the importance of having a couple of things. Now, you can add your homepage title. This is what's going to be used in search. So whatever your homepage title is there, it could be Pink Bottle Store, for example, and then it could be Australia's favourite active bottle shop, bottle shop's pretty not run, active drink supplies shop for runners or something like that. So the more specific you are here, the better that Google's going to index your site. So be specific. Now down here is if someone shares your website, you can add the image that you want to come up when they share it to social, etc. Now it's going to pull in all this information up here. So the page title might be the pink bottle, and then the link, and then obviously the description. But you want a general one, you can add that there. The other thing too is the Google Analytics tracking and the Facebook pixel. So just very quickly, Google Analytics is a Google property, obviously. It's a free tool that allows you to basically get a lot more insight as to the way that your customers and your visitors are performing on site. So you can set up a free Google Analytics account. Now, honestly, you can click here and set there. It's going to give you the full instructions, but please add this on, because once you add your Google Analytics code, it starts tracking from the minute you put that on. You can't retrospectively track data. So if you don't put this down and you decide 6 months later, oh, we want to see how we've been performing on a more deeper level, you can't go backwards. You have to add this now. The same with the Facebook pixel. Now, just very, very quickly, if you don't know what a Facebook pixel is, a Facebook pixel is a little bit of code you put into your website, or for here, you just put in that there's a unique number that you'd put in. And what that does, it actually, and this is completely legal, by the way, if you maybe a bit freaked out by this, you put your Facebook pixel ID in, and it will start to track anyone who is logged into Facebook, which majority of people are, what they are doing on your site. So as I mentioned earlier, if I've gone to your website and looked at 2 products, but then maybe I added to cart and went, I've got to go look for a few other competitors and see if there's a better price. So what that does, it will use, I've got a Facebook unique ID that Facebook uses to identify me. So it doesn't share my name or anything like that with the store. It's all through data, through numbers. And then it will say, user 007, let's say 777, for example, that person has looked at this product, and is added to cart. So then what we can do down the track when you get more advanced is you can use that information in advertising. So you can create an ad that will automatically update based off what the user has looked at and go, hey, did you forget something? Here is the pink bottle 1 and pink bottle 2, for example. Would you like to finish your purchase? And then it can click through. So there's a lot of information you can get here. The other thing by having the Facebook pixel too in your site, it actually starts to understand who your ideal customer is. And you can actually start to create audiences on Facebook with ads based off the people that are most likely to come to your store. And it's really, really powerful. So again, I know that might be down the track, but the thing you need to remember, if you put these both on now, it's going to be very, very fruitful down the track to have that data to collect for you. So the other thing just quickly, finally, is I'll leave that because we're not going to do that right now, is the app section that I mentioned. So there are so many things you can do here. And so if you basically, it can give you ones that you recommend here, that they're recommending. Obviously, it's this is a new site, so it's not a lot of information. The more you put into it, the more it will recommend. But you can go to the App Store, and that's going to give you a whole selection of things that you can basically add into your site. As I mentioned before, for one of our clients, we had a calendar where they could choose. You can add loyalty card points programs. You can add the Instagram slider. So that's like your Instagram images across your site. So there's so much you can do. What I recommend is just going through searching the apps. You can go to categories up here, and it's got marketing, sales conversion, orders and shipping. So if you wanted to add Australia Post, for example, into your back end, this is where you would do it. Go and have a play, go and have a look. There's a lot of material too that Shopify does to help in forums if you're trying to find a solution and find the right app for that. Really, really effective way of doing things. Yeah, that's going to wrap up the general overview of setting up a Shopify store. And I'm really conscious that people may have some questions that are more aligned to what they have as a business currently. Brand new is this little pop-up that's here now. Local delivery is now available. You just click on set up local delivery. And so what this does, this is for shipping, but local delivery down here and local pickup, you can actually manage it through this. Now, obviously, just conscious of time, go through and click and follow the instructions there around how it works. Obviously, this may not be the right solution for you because some of the apps might have a better option, but look at this is a native one on Shopify first. Always the native ones tend to be a lot better and they're cheaper. Some of the apps as well can have a cost associated, so always look at that. But it also has the ability for when people are checking out that you have maybe a flat delivery fee and then information as well, and then you can set postcodes, delivery radius, etc. And what that does, is that when someone gets to the checkout, instead of going, courier or it might also have click and collect and then local delivery, they can choose that option. So it'll automatically add it in. So have a play around with that and then obviously make sure you save. And the local pickup, similar, very, very similar as well. But again, see how that's highlighted. Go and click on both of those. It will give you a lot more information as to how that can work as well. So hopefully that gives you a bit more clarity there on that one. Do we have any more questions there? I'm just opened up.
Sorry. There was also just another question about which processor do you recommend, Stripe, Square, and who's the cheapest?
Yeah, really good point. So Shopify actually has its own credit card facilities through it. Now, I find that actually quite cost effective. Where you need to look at though is your volume. If you are doing, let's say, you've got a product with a lot, say coffee, for example. So you might be doing a very, very high volume. Some of them, you need to look at the cost per amount of sales per day. Some of them will be different. So it really depends on your business structure. But honestly, for a lot of our clients that are just getting started, I recommend using the Shopify native one because the actual credit card fee is pretty reasonable. It pays out you can set it to pay out daily or every 3 days, and it's really, really effective. So you tend to, the problem is if you use a PayPal or Stripe sometimes, which I've been in this position, especially if you've got products that are quite, maybe have a higher volume, you can get, money can get stuck in there, and they've got the right to basically put the shutters down. I had an invoice from the States from a client that wasn't paid out for 45 days. So from PayPal. So I've been there. So the good thing about Shopify is that you've already verified your site from a standpoint that the sales are legitimate. So the money doesn't get held up. So just something to be considered. There's a few things in there, but look, Stripe is a fantastic integration. Square's great too if you're using a point of sale point of view too, and you've got a tap. So again, look at your needs. And then if you're not sure, give them a yell and get in touch or go to their support and put your requirements in front of them. eWay as well is another one in Australia that does pretty well too, and that has a native integration with Shopify as well. But again, the Shopify one itself, and that takes Visa, MasterCard, Amex, you name it, it will integrate. I think even Apple Pay and things like that too. So again, keep it simple. Don't go too crazy. If you can just use the one that's already built in, it's going to save you a lot of time and heartache. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Like as I mentioned, please, I think Stephanie's put a feedback form in the chat. I'd love to get feedback. Obviously, if there's anything else you'd like to find out or cover, please pop that in as well. As I mentioned, we were based in High Street, Bastings, but at the moment everyone's at home. But yeah, really, really hope you got some value out of that. If you need anything else, I will obviously do my best, but I'll also send through some information to Stephanie tomorrow morning to really help you. There is so much good insight and information and training for free out there on Shopify. You just need to put the time in. It does take a bit of time, but if you put a day or two aside to really get across it, you'll get so many benefits out of it. So all the best, and please stay safe, everyone, and support each other through this time and be kind. That's all I can say.